come to the living room. Today's hot topic, have you ever begged your man or your partner while being in a relationship and or marriage? Come on, ladies. I want us to just join this conversation, and I'm going to come to each of you, and I'm going to ask you what and if you've begged your partner while in a relationship or in a marriage.
Wow.
All right, so I know I begged.
Okay.
I begged throughout the entire relationship.
Okay.
One of the things I just kept begging for was, please spend more time with us.
Okay.
Please spend more time with me. So what he would do is go to work, come home, get dressed, and then go back outside. And then I wouldn't see him till about 11 o'clock at night. And this was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7 days a week.
Wow.
So I would be like, listen, like, you have to spend time with us. You don't have to cut back your days are going out, but at least just put us in it a little bit more or a little bit longer. And that just fell on deaf ears.
Wow.
I ended up just begging the entire relationship.
Wow. So what got you to the place where you needed to beg for it? What got you to the place where, because typically when we beg, it's a last resort, right? Typically when we beg for something, we've tried every other way. It has not worked. So now we get to the place where I'm just gonna beg, and perhaps they'll feel sorry for me, and perhaps they'll think I have, you know what, let me just make her or them okay. So how did you get to the place where
I was lonely. It got to a point where I couldn't keep myself busy enough to where it would distract me of him not being there. Like, it was just blatant that he was a missing person in our home. So it took me to break down to loneliness, to be like, okay, let me talk to him. And then hopefully that'll change his mind. Or he would be like, you know what, I don't want to see my girl hurt. I don't want to do that to her son. Like, let me step up. But like I said, it fell on deaf ears. He yelled at me all the time. You can't change me. This is what I did before you met me.
Wow.
Like, this is who I am. So you got to take it or leave it. I'm not changing. So at that point, you just become numb.
And so
just get quiet.
So typically when we beg, we never get what we want.
Ever.
Yeah. How did it make you feel when you realized you begged for something and he wasn't willing to give it to you?
It made me feel like I wasn't enough. Like I wasn't enough. Like, why don't you want to be with me? Why don't you want to be with why don't you want to be here? We're amazing. I'm a great woman. I cook, I clean, I motivate you. We got businesses. Why don't you want to be here? So it literally just knocked my self-esteem to the bottom of the barrel. Like, it was just a wrap.
And what was your come to Jesus moment when you realized, I don't need to beg? Or did you have one?
It took years.
Wow.
It took years. It took years of me being a broken record. He would even say it like, you sound like a broken record.
Wow. Like, I'm not changing.
So it was like, it just took years. And then finally, that on top of everything else made me go. That wasn't the one thing that made me go, to be honest. I still would have been there if it wasn't other things. So, have you begged in a relationship, while in a relationship?
Well, I think for me, in a relationship, I was the one making a person beg. And that was,
that's a good perspective.
No, but that's, I'm being honest.
That's good.
I really had to think about all my relationships, and I was bad at chasing. I would make them chase me. Because it was like more of, I'm going to be honest, it was more of, I got to win. Like, you know, like, it was more like I gotta be in control in that situation. So, but it's not a good thing, because
no,
well, that's how you do it. None of all of this is good. None of it is good.
No, like, we not
No, but in relationships, I realized I am the one that make the other person beg. I am the one, and because
why? Tell me why.
I don't know. I think I was scared to open up and be vulnerable, be the one begging. So I was stubborn. So I'm like, they're going to have to show all the work. Even though I wanted to at times, I would make them do it. I mean, it was bad because I could be wrong and still would make them beg.
Wow.
As if I'm not
So you
wrong.
broke them down.
Yeah.
Wow. And was okay breaking them down, because breaking them down made you feel in control.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's the past, though. That's not.
No, but it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to defend it.
No, but yeah, and I would say in most of my relationships, yeah.
Wow.
I had to. Yeah.
What it sounds like, that was like a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Like, so you don't get your heart broken.
Yeah.
Let me break yours
Exactly.
first.
Exactly.
Let me hurt you so
I
you
think
don't
at
hurt
that
me.
one relationship where I was vulnerable, and I think I was slightly begging, I was like, oh no, I'm not doing this no more, because I feel like
Ego trip.
yeah. It was definitely my ego, but it's not a good feeling.
And so what did you, so as they would beg, it would make you feel more powerful? It would make you feel more in control?
It would make me feel more like you love me because you're begging. Like it's like, oh, okay, they doing all this, so they must love me if they fighting.
So you were secretly looking for love, and they needed to prove it before you would show up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't it crazy that like
Wow,
you think
that's
about your
true, yeah.
relationships and that was probably the
Wow.
thought process behind some
like-
of the
I was
Subconsciously, right? So we never really think about it that way,
Yeah.
but we're defending, and our defense mechanism is, I'm going to protect me, but I'm going to break you, but I need you to show up to show me that you
Yeah.
love me before I show up for you.
And it's crazy because I would purposely leave just for them to beg.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And then it make me feel like, okay, like I got the upper hand. And that's not. Well, I don't do that no more.
And so what was what moment did you come to say, this isn't healthy? This the way that I'm going about this isn't going to produce a healthy relationship? Like where was your come to Jesus moment? Or did you have one?
No, I did. I definitely did. Because
Okay.
I'm not. I think the relationships I was in was more toxic.
Okay.
And it was more like fighting and bickering. So I
Okay.
had to see your love through the fight. But I think now I stopped fighting.
Okay.
So that's when the begging came for you to
Yeah.
fight. But I think I was looking for fight in people.
So
when I'm
fight to
dating them.
you meant they loved you.
Yeah, like if I
Yes.
see you begging me, I'm like, this person loves me.
But I can
If you
relate.
fighting for me, yeah.
Like, the more you fight for me,
Yeah.
the more I'm going to feel love.
But I was
And
toxic.
I don't know.
I was toxic at a point because I used to be like, I'm leaving, knowing I don't
wanna
want to
leave.
leave, but I want to see you
how they
chase me.
respond.
Like I want
Yeah.
to see you. Not anymore. I'm not like that. But
Yeah.
it was more me looking for love. But I didn't know of course that's not love. But yeah. That
But
was
at the
because-
time, that was your mindset, and at the
Yeah.
time, that's what defined love for you at that level, at
Yeah.
that point in time. As we grow and as we're listening to ourselves now, what are some of the thoughts we're having, right? Because I know we're saying,
Yeah.
wow, maybe I shouldn't have gone about it that way, or I wouldn't do that now, or if I had a daughter, I wouldn't tell her to go
Exactly.
about it that way.
Yeah.
But we don't, at the moment we're going through these things, we don't think about it that
Yeah.
way. So let me ask you, did you ever beg in a relationship?
I
and
feel
a
like
marriage?
when I was single, I did not. I do recall situations where the person wanted me to beg, and I'm like, I go.
Okay.
Like I was that person, even though I may not have wanted you to go, my ego was not going to allow me to beg for you. I'm
Okay.
not going to do that.
Okay.
But however, in full transparency, in marriage, I feel like I have begged.
Okay.
I feel like especially like having a child and working a crazy job, flying all over the place and being exhausted and wanting my husband to see me.
Yeah.
To see the deficiency, to see that I'm exhausted, to see that I need help in this area, to see that maybe my health is failing because I'm exhausted. I did beg for that.
Right.
I did beg, like, see me, because I need help in
Right.
this moment,
Right.
right? And I think that was something new for me.
Okay.
Because I don't beg. I don't beg anybody. You know, of all people. I'm not asking nobody for nothing.
Yeah.
That's not my jam. But then when I got married and things transitioned and I had a baby, but I still had to show up for work and I still had to show up at home. I still had to show up for this newborn. I was exhausted and I needed my husband to see me. And
Yeah.
he had his own things going on and he could not see me.
Right.
Wow.
And that was very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's all three of you have had different stories. Do
Yeah.
you realize that?
Yeah.
And so when did you get to the point where you understood, or the come to Jesus moment, that begging isn't working, or it's not enough, or I shouldn't be doing that? Or did you have that moment?
I left.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna keep it all the way 100. I left. I waited, I think maybe a year and a half
Okay.
for him to see me. And then I got to a place, I had a call with my girlfriend, and because I was battling if I was just going to continue to push and push, because as women we push, right?
Yeah.
And you give and you give and you give, and I had nothing left to give. And I spoke to one of my girlfriends that I don't speak often, and as soon as I spoke to her, I burst into tears. And she was like, "You can't breathe. Who are you?" And I had been talking to people, and people knew about my situation, but it was something about her saying, "That's not you," that I said, "I have to breathe." And that next morning I left for about almost 2 months. For him to, and I had to accept the fact he may not wake up. He may not ever see me.
Wow.
Are we in a place now where I think he fully sees me? No.
Yeah.
Is it better than before? Slightly. Right? And I'm being transparent,
That's right.
Because this is my perspective.
Yes.
But it is a difficult place to be in when you've never been in that place before in your life.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so as women, how do we get to the low place of having to beg for love?
Or why?
Yeah.
Wait, we gotta ask you.
It's coming. Oh, it's coming.
Okay.
It's coming. So I'll tell you mine. So being married at a very young age, 20.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not knowing who I was, not knowing what I was supposed to do, desiring a man's love, not growing up with a father. You have these expectations of what marriage is supposed to be. At 20, I'm married. I got this baby. I'm just wanting life to be grand like it looked like on TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think that marriage is all of this stuff, and being married, neither of us knew what we were doing. I would beg for time. I would beg for attention. I would beg for intimacy. I would beg for understanding. I would beg for a lot of things. Never realizing if he had it to give me.
He would have done it.
But I required it.
Right.
But I never checked to see if he had it.
That's the thing.
And so while I'm asking for all of these things, because these are the things that I need.
Yeah.
And if you're my husband and you don't have them, what am I to do?
Yes. That's the
How
thing.
do I go on if I can't get from you what I need?
Yes.
What happens now? We've never had a conversation. It's just a silent expectation that I expect you to show up this way. I expect you to show up this way. But while you have your own things going on, I'm over here complete deficit, begging, crying, screaming, trying to figure out how do I keep me together and take care of baby when nothing's being met.
Right.
I just want to.
Yeah, I like this.
No, but it's real life.
It's a real thing.
People
And you vowed your life to me, and I
Yes.
vowed my life to you.
Yes.
But what we don't get to, and I know we're talking about us, perhaps I wasn't meeting anything for him.
That's also true.
But
You
do you
know?
think that it's life that changes everything?
Yeah,
like
life
stuff that
happens.
goes.
It's life.
Or it's
Life,
like
life.
how do you keep it like to the point?
What
where
I think it's a lot of expectation, it's a lot of toxicity, and it's a lot of lack of understanding. We don't understand who we're with.
That's true.
Okay. Now here I go.
We don't know who we're really with.
Which is 1,000% accurate. You never know who you have in front of you, like ever, right?
Right.
But you can take a wild guess based off of what that person has shown you.
Right.
Right.
A lot of times people are putting on a show.
Yes.
People are putting on a front. So with the type of woman I am, like you said, Mika, I never beg. I don't have to beg. I could just go get another
Myself.
one.
Right.
Yes.
I could just go get another one. He wanted to be with me
ma'am.
too. But it was like, this was the first challenge. This was the first guy that actually gave me a run for my money. And I just didn't know. I just had to take that challenge. I couldn't just walk away. So love sometimes, it humbled me. It humbled me because I feel like begging could be good and bad. Like when I listen to a lot of love songs back in the day and I hear men wanting their women back, they outside begging. They crying in the rain. They screaming. When women want their men back and they realize they went wrong, they go back, please take us back, give me another chance. So I feel like it's like a
50-50.
It's 50-50, right? But to go back to what I was saying, that a lot of times, like you always say, you're meeting a person's representative.
Yes.
So with me, the person put on, he always gave me time. He always gave me love. He was in the house, but that was just short-lived.
Yes.
So now I have to figure out how to adjust, and it's different. And now I'm confused. And when you're confused, that makes you stay longer because you're fighting on what to do. And so I feel like sometimes, so it's another part to it that people change.
Yeah.
People change. Of course, if you get with somebody and they doing all of that day one, you're not even gonna stay with them.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not even gonna
Let
be
me
with
tell
them.
you something. I got married and 4 months in, shifted. I don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
4 months in. My baby was 5 months. I don't remember how old she was. And I was just like, what is this?
Happened?
It completely shifted. So now this person who he now says he truly is, do I like you?
But you want to know what's deep too? I think in certain situations, the person really don't even know themselves.
Absolutely.
They don't.
Yes.
You don't know them, but they don't even know themselves.
That's
Because
true.
I think, like, in this relationship that I'm in, I figured out who I was. Like, so it's like,
In this season.
Because we change.
Yeah,
because what I realized, and I've had conversations with you, when I was dating my now husband, I didn't require certain things.
Okay.
I didn't require him to show up as a provider. I didn't need that.
Yeah.
I didn't require him to show up as someone who can see me and give compassion and consideration. I wanted to have fun. We had fun.
Yeah.
So now that life has shifted and my baby is here and my job is here and the bills are here and his parents passed away,
it's
all
like-
this stuff, now I need something else.
Yeah.
And he needs something else.
Yeah.
Can I give that?
Right.
Do I want to?
Right.
Do I like what you can give me? It's like it shifts. I thought I knew who I was when I was dating him. I'm a whole 3 years later, a whole different person.
Yes. But see, a lot of
It's so
times,
true.
but what I really want us to come to, the conclusion I want us to come to is, we should never beg for love.
No.
Wait, why?
No,
I never been before. I'm
Wait,
I never
listen.
been
right now.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I ain't doing that
If
crap.
a man wants me, if my
gonna
person
show up.
wants me, he's going to show
gonna
up
show
for
up.
me. If I've got to beg you to be there for me, that means you don't want me.
Husband,
That's what it means.
No.
Because
It's the truth.
okay, it's situational what I'm looking at, right? Because I feel like sometimes, like, you'll have a good one and you made a mistake. You let's say you cheated on them.
Okay.
And they walking out the door and you realize you made a mistake.
That ain't no
That's
mistake.
the time
That's
to beg to
intentional.
get your man back or get your woman back. So I feel like, so maybe that's the toxic
That's
part.
intentional.
because
Yeah, that's intentional. Like, cheating is intentional.
It's a mistake the first time.
What? Well, it's a decision. Cheating is a decision.
Okay,
It's a decision.
It's
a decision.
It's a decision, right?
Yes.
But let's say the person is sorry. Let's say the person, not that they're sorry. Let's say that they're a good man, and I'm gonna just say man because I'm a woman, right? So that's a good man. You don't want, you know, you cheated on him. You know you made the mistake, but you don't want to lose your man. So you wouldn't fight for it. You wouldn't humble yourself and beg for it. Like, please don't leave, or
I get what
I can
you're
make
saying.
this work, or like I wouldn't literally just be like, you know what, I'm not begging, I'm not fighting for this, and leave.
Well, I have a very different perspective on that because once you decide to cheat, you should be ready to handle the consequences. If that means they leave, then that means you were willing to deal with that because you made a decision. All of that was up front. Otherwise, we wouldn't have cheated, right? So if you lose the person you cheated with should have been all that in a bag of chips to overshadow what you're about to lose because you did risk it all to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I'm gonna beg you to stay because I knew I was running you away because first of all I left you.
Yeah.
And if I
You
cheat,
didn't leave
I'm
me,
done.
I left
But
you.
do you think sorry is good enough?
No,
Like, sorry
I don't
isn't
think
good
sorry is good enough. I just don't want it to get to the point where, like, I felt like
I don't know.
I had to go through that season of begging because I was so in my ego and I thought I was untouchable and I thought that nobody was going to play me and do me wrong, and I'm not about to show my weakness. But that broke me down and made me realize, like, it's okay to love somebody a lot. It's okay to ask a person to be in your life. Like, I always wanted to be strong, but that kind of broke me down and made me be like, it's okay to love. It's okay to have feelings. You just probably have it for the wrong person.
Right. And it's okay to love, and it's okay to express your love, but it's not okay to chase a man because he's telling you he's running for a reason. He don't want to be there.
Yeah.
Right? They're running for a reason.
But that's a hard pill to swallow.
It
in
is.
the midst,
Yeah.
It is. In the
when
midst.
you look back on it, you're like, oh wow.
And that's what I
Yeah.
said. A lot of times, as we look now, we be like, Jesus, I took 10 years of my life begging a man, and he still didn't show up.
Yeah.
Or I took 5 years of my life asking him to be this, and he's still not there. Why couldn't I gather myself?
Right.
And are we holding on to a fairy tale?
Yeah.
See, that's what a lot of us, because we're raised with fairy tales, and a lot of us, the love that we desire can find us, but we're never available for it.
Yeah.
Because we're begging someone who doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're tolerating them, and they're tolerating us.
Right.
And what is
so
that?
what do you do? What do you do when you just want to be loved so bad?
That it
And
comes
the
to you.
person that you're with is not willing to love you the way that you need to
Don't
be loved.
force it. Just
I
it gotta
feel-
be natural. It has to be
I
natural.
think it has to be a conversation. So, because like you said, you don't know what that other person has going on in their life. So if it gets to a point where you're like, okay, wait, my needs aren't getting met, have a conversation with the
Yes,
person.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Now, what they do with that information is on
It's on-
them.
So what if
Yeah.
after the conversation they show you 2 weeks and then 2 weeks later you got back to
then
begging,
Then I
That's
will
your
leave.
answer.
Yeah,
And that's your answer.
Yeah, then I'm
and then you
not.
gotta do it again and then do it
But
again.
maybe you don't.
and
Maybe
do it again.
sometimes you could take a break to
Yeah.
just be alone.
Yeah.
It's like, and to just heal and to just, I always
see,
said,
but-
if
but
my
see-
marriage didn't work, I ain't dating no more.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be, no, because I feel like relationships show you your issue.
They do. It highlights them.
And the men and the women that we're in relationships with that are toxic, they have issues, and that's why they run. They may have not dealt with their situation,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and then it triggers something in us because why are they leaving? Like it
Absolutely.
literally makes you implode inside the relationship
Absolutely.
Right.
while you're begging.
Yeah.
You're just jacked up.
yeah. But what I guess I don't want us to think that we have to beg.
Well, look.
I don't. We shouldn't beg. Love is given freely.
Yeah.
Love, real love, is given freely.
Yep.
Love heals.
Yep.
Love restores.
Amen.
Love revives.
That's amazing.
Love shows up for you. You shouldn't have to run after love and drag it back so you could live.
That's,
But
that's
first,
my God.
you gotta learn how to love. Because if you learn how to love, then it will come right to you.
Well, how can you love yourself though?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the thing.
That's the thing. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to love.
to
Yeah,
love
of course.
yourself.
You
But
love
then,
yourself and you
that's what
love.
she said. It broke her down to the place, though. But on many levels, she said it humbled her. But why did it have to humble you that way?
Because I just always walked in life with my head high, thinking that I was untouchable, that every guy was going
Is
to
something
do
wrong
what.
with that? Because I lost that, and I'm telling you, I'm getting
I
it back.
don't. I don't.
Is something wrong with it though?
Just
'Cause I'm
don't
teaching my
think
daughter
it can't
that.
happen to you. Like, that's my biggest thing. Like, I always thought I was better than everybody, and like, she's stupid. I could never until I was in that situation. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm some girls I talk about.
Okay.
So for me, it was a very humbling experience. Do I think all women need to go through that to wake up? No, because that's trauma. Now
It is trauma. Now you got to heal
now
from
you gotta
all of it.
heal from the
Yeah.
PTSD.
Yeah.
But I will say it was a lesson
Okay.
with all of that.
Okay.
I feel like you can fight once, but not 2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
5, 6,
yeah,
7, 8
that's right,
times.
yeah. That's
like,
right.
so that's my whole takeaway.
And a lot of relationships, you're going to have those little, I call them heated conversations,
Yeah.
right? So we
Yeah.
don't say
Yeah.
fights. So we have the heated conversations, and we're going to go back and forth, and we're going to let, the conversation is going to be, I'm going to tell you my needs, you're going to tell me your needs, and we make a collective decision if we can meet the needs.
Right.
Right? And if I can't love you, if I don't know how, can you teach me?
And be teachable.
That's the part.
That's the
That's
good
Can
part.
you
Yeah.
teach me
That's
how?
the good
But see, we don't get there.
Yeah.
We don't.
Teachable.
We just expect people to show up and expect people to have what we need. And if they don't have it, then we get an attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we're depressed.
Yeah.
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 But you never had the conversation up front.
Yeah.
right? But I don't want to teach. How many of us would teach our daughters to go beg a man to show up for you,
Tell you
baby?
something.
Beg a man 10 years to love you. Come on, beg somebody to be there for you. Let them break you down so you can get the reality of what love is. We would never teach anyone that.
So let me ask you a good question, because I know in relationships, people like to fight for it. Is that considered begging as well? Like
What,
if you
fight
fighting
for what? Like
fighting
what
for a relationship,
To keep it together? No.
Is that a
that's
point
not
of begging?
begging. No,
Oh, okay,
that's
okay.
not begging.
Okay,
That's
that's
coming to a
fighting.
conclusion
Both
that we
parties
need
are
to
fighting.
work
No,
on.
I'm saying
this
like
thing.
if the person is leaving and you're fighting for them to stay, like is
Is
that
one
a form
person
of begging?
fighting?
Yeah, one person.
I
Yeah,
think that's begging.
Well, it's begging if one doesn't want to
Yeah.
be there.
Okay.
Typically, you beg when the other person's out.
When the other
Yeah,
person.
okay.
But if
When the
both of y'all
person
are
is out.
fighting together
Yeah.
to keep the relationship,
keep it, it's
like,
not begging.
I own my stuff, you
Right.
own your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's different.
There are times when people can beg for you to stay, but the best thing to do is leave.
Is leave.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is leave, because you work on yourself, I'll work on myself, and if it's meant to be together, we're going to come back together.
Yeah.
Begging someone to stay takes us to a new low,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the lowest of lows. And guess what? Now they don't respect you.
Because they think they could get away.
They don't
with
respect you now.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
All you're going to do is beg.
Yep.
I can mistreat you and mishandle you. All you're going to do is come running back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And guess what? I'm going to turn my head and treat you just the way I've always been treating you, because guess what you proved to me? I can do whatever I want to do to you and you won't go nowhere.
I wasn't like that though.
but my
I wasn't like that. No. I get because I
He
used
says
to
it
be
all the
like
time.
that, but I wasn't like, I didn't think like you ain't gonna go nowhere. I think I was just doing it just because I wanted to feel it. Like,
Yeah.
But
that's totally
you.
different. Yeah,
That's
but I
you.
thought about
I'm
what you
talking
said.
about
I had to-
typical. How many times you said?
What you mean?
How many times did you beg? And you still
throughout
did.
the whole
I'm not
relationship.
changing. I'm not
Yeah.
changing.
She said, "I'm not changing."
I'm
See
not
what
changing.
that does, like you said, it broke you down. It lowers your self-esteem.
It did.
Yeah.
It
makes
hurt
you feel like your self-worth is low,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
you when and it takes you to a place of like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
That's the big
Yeah.
thing.
That's where you
That's
go.
the big
But,
thing. Yes.
but something was wrong with me, because why am I sitting here once again begging somebody
Yes.
to be with me?
Absolutely.
So like a lot, like you said, a lot of this, like, I don't want all women to go through it, but if you do go through it, just really pay attention to what's happening.
Gather
and-
yourself.
and
Yes.
learn from that
Yes.
and move
Let me tell
forward,
you
because
something.
you don't deserve you
don't deserve it. You
Even
don't.
in marriage, I'm gonna say, sit down and take inventory.
Yeah.
Just watch.
Yes.
Listen. It's not about being argumentative. It's watch the actions.
Yes.
Watch what they show you, because men will tell you, the alpha in the relationship will tell you, oh, I'm good. We're gonna be together. I got you. We're gonna do this. But the words don't mean anything.
Don't mean anything.
It's
It's
the
how
actions.
they move.
If I have to
Yes.
continue to beg you for this one thing, that means you don't want to do it. That's disrespectful to
Yeah.
me. Got it.
Right.
If I have to beg you for this, it's literally being quiet.
Yeah.
And watch.
Quiet yourself and just watch.
And you will honestly find out
Yeah.
who wants you or not.
Yes.
And how much they're willing
Yeah.
to do to keep you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You will honestly, when you go quiet,
Yes, ma'am.
it should shake a man at his
Yeah.
core. Because she's lost the
it
fight to
does.
try and keep you. She's
up.
done.
I'm done.
When she's quiet, she's done. And so instead of begging,
Just get
how we
quiet.
get their attention is
Be quiet.
go quiet.
Right.
You don't have to beg them.
Yeah.
If that going quiet doesn't shake them, they're not involved.
Yeah.
They check
They're
out.
not involved.
Yeah.
And so we just have to value ourselves enough to make sure that we know who we are. And so all the toxicity and all the things and all the crying and wonder, there's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with you now because you were in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And so now we have to heal
Yeah.
from the hands that we weren't supposed to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when love shows up, you don't ever have to beg.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I thank y'all for this honest conversation. I thank y'all for just being vulnerable, sharing, because we're not the only ones that have been begging.
No.
We've learned from it. There are
Yeah.
many others that have begged, but I'm telling you, when real love shows up, you won't have to beg. Sometimes you'll have to say, it's enough. You've loved on me too much. And I can't wait for the day we have those testimonies. You've given me too much. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you soon. I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.